Hello class, welcome to this another discussion video on the topic receivable financing. At the end of this lesson, you should be able to identify the different forms of receivable financing and then apply the accounting concepts pertinent to the different forms of receivable financing. So first thing is you have to understand what a financial or what is a receivable financing. So receivable financing is the financial flexibility or capability of an entity to raise money out of its receivables. So in short, pag there are times wherein na hindi na makakahintay yung company na makolekta yung receivable from the customers. So what they're going to do is that gagamitin nila yung kanilang receivable para makakuha sila ng money agad-agad. So that is through this concept, receivable financing. So there are four forms of receivable financing. So first is there's what we call pledge or pledging of accounts receivable. Second is we have assignment of accounts receivable. Then we have factoring of accounts receivable. And lastly, we have discounting of notes receivable. So unahin natin itong pledge of accounts receivable or pledging. So this refers to the use of receivables as collateral for a loan. So this is very common. Wherein you're going to pledge, you're going to tag all of your accounts receivable as collateral for a loan. So take note in the pledging of accounts receivable, this is general, not very formal. Wala siyang specific na account na pledge, kundi sinabi lang na lahat ng accounts receivable. So there's no specific account being or walang specific account na tinag as collateral. Walang specific customer na prenamis or specify para yun ang kanyang basis ng pag-pledge. So, this is again general in nature. So, what is the accounting treatment for pledge of accounts receivable? So, since this is just an informal way of making your accounts receivable as a collateral, so, take note that under the pledging of accounts receivable, wala tayo masyadong accounting issue kasi there is no journal entry needed to record that the accounts receivable is being pledged. Thus, the accounts receivable account is not affected by pledging. What we have to do for accounting purposes is just to make some disclosures on the notes of financial statements that the accounts receivable were pledged. So, pag pledging of accounts receivable, yung i-recognize lang natin ay yung ating loan na na-avail. So, pagkatapos na pag-recognize ng loan na na-avail, wala na tayong gagawing entry in relation to the pledge na accounts receivable. So, what we have to do is just make it clear in the disclosures that this accounts receivable is or was pledged as a collateral for this certain loan. So, yan lang yung gagawin natin. So, we have here an illustration as to the pledging of accounts receivable. So, example, on January 1 or November 1, 2019, an entity borrowed 1 million from the Philippine National Bank and issued a promissory note for the same amount. So the term of the loan is 1 year and discounted at 12%. So the entity pledged accounts receivable of 2 million to secure the loan. So we have here, what we have to do is just to make the entry related to the loan that we availed. So no entry in establishing the pledge accounts receivable, but it needs to be disclosed. So on November 1, 2019, your journal entry will only be this one. So you debit cash of 880,000, you debit discount and notes payable at 120,000, and you credit notes payable bank at 1 million to recognize our liability. So take note here that if the note is discounted, so pag sinabing discounted, there is a banking parlance that means na yung interest natin ay i-deduct natin in advance. So instead of receiving the whole amount of 1 million, yung net proceeds na lang natin ay 880,000 na lang. So it is presented here, no, yung computations niyan, present dito sa baba. So the face value of the note ay 1 million minus your interest, which is deducted in advance. So that's 1 million times 12%, good for 1 year, the term of the note. So you have 120,000. So 1 million minus 120,000. So your net cash proceeds. So yung pera no na ating makukuha from this pledging of accounts receivable is 880,000. In short, because of this loan. No, ito lang yung ating natanggap kasi nga dinideduct na yung ating interest in advance. So another form of receivable financing is yung assignment. Na assignment of accounts receivable. So ano naman ito? So this is a more formal borrowing arrangement in which the receivables are used as a security. So, parang ganun din doon sa pledging of accounts receivable no, na para siyang collateral ng loan. Kaso lang dito sa assignment, mas formal siya. So, in what way na mas formal siya? So, we have here yung borrower, which is the assignor. Ipi-pledge na yung receivables niya to a lender, which we call as the assignee. Tapos, magsasign siya ng promissory note. Now, ano bang kaibahan nito doon sa pledging? Dito kasi sa assignment, what will happen is that meron talagang specific na accounts receivable na ating i-assign. No? So, meaning, out of the accounts receivable, there's really a certain customers or clients mo no, na itatag mo as, ito yung inassign kong accounts receivable sa loan na to. So, mas specific siya, mas formal siya. No, meron talagang listahan kung sino-sino yung affected or sino-sino yung customers or clients na inassign yung account. So, that is your assignment of accounts receivable. So, since there's a specific customers being assigned, no, may listahan talaga kung sino yung mga customers na pledge yung account. So, there are two forms no, of assignment. So, itong tinatawag natin na non-notification basis and the other one is notification basis. So, ano ba ang kaibahan ng dalawa? So, meron na tayong naka-tag or naka-specify na customers na ating isasama doon sa mga accounts na inassign. Now, pag sinabing non-notification basis, yung customers ay hindi informed, no? They are not informed that their accounts have been assigned. So, if that is the case, hindi nila alam na yung account pala nila ay inassign na sa isang financial institution kung saan may pagkakautang yung entity. So, yung mga customers will then continue to make payments to the assignor. So, yan yung magiging setup. No? So, pag may collection na si assignor, ang gagawin niya lang ay i-remit niya ito sa assignee or sa financial institution kung saan meron siyang pagkakautang. So, that is non-notification. Kasi nga, hindi na-inform yung mga customers na inassign pala yung account nila to a certain financial institution. So, yun, no? Magbabayad pa rin sila sa entity kung saan sila may pagkakautang. The other form naman is itong notification. So, dito, in this case class, no, the customers are notified to make their payments directly to the assignee. So, inform yung customers na yung account nila ay na-assign or inassign, no, sa isang financial institution or yung entity na nagpautang sa company. So the assignee usually lends only a certain percentage of the accounts assigned. No? So of course, say for example, the total receivables assigned is 2 million. So yes, si assignee naman, meron lang siyang certain percentage, no, na i-grant na loan. So for example, 2 million. So pag sinabi niyang 80% lang, so meaning makaka-avail lang si entity ng 80% of the loan or of the accounts receivable being assigned. So, ang availment niya lang, ang loan availment niya lang ay 2 million times 80%. So, more or less, that's 1.6 million. So, the assignee also may charge a service or finance charge or commission fee for collecting the said receivables on behalf of the assigner. So, kasi nga, yung customers are notified. So, ibig sabihin, magbabayad na sila doon sa assignee. So, si assignee naman, kasi dagdag trabaho sa kanyang part yun. So, magsa-charge siya na kay assigner ng, of course, fees, no? Or applicable fees. So, depende doon sa kanilang agreement. But the point is, since some of the tasks supposedly ng assigner ay aakuin na ni assignee, so that's why magsa-charge si assignee na ng commission fee or yung service charge nga. So, let's have a sample of assignment, no, na notification basis. So, we have here, on April 1, an entity assigned 700,000 of accounts receivable to a bank under a non-notification arrangement. So, the bank advances 80% less a service charge of 5,000. So the entity signed a promissory note that provided for interest of 1% per month on the unpaid balance. So dito sa assignment class, no, what makes it different doon sa pledging is that, yes, collateral nga siya, kagaya lang ng pledging, but dito, kasi mas formal ito, mas may specific accounts ka na inassign. So what you have to do is, there is a need for us to separate the assigned accounts, no, from the general accounts receivable. So that is the entry, no, the first entry here. So nag-debit siya ng accounts receivable assigned and nag-credit ng accounts receivable. So for the amount of 700,000. And then the second entry, no, on April 1 is to record, of course, the loan. So dito mag-compute tayo ng cash proceeds, no, or magkano ba yung natanggap na pera ng entity. So, since ang in-advance lang naman, no, ng bangko sa kanya ay 80%, so ibig sabihin that's 700,000, the total amount of the assigned accounts, times 80%, so that's 560,000, minus the service charge of 5,000, so ito lang yung natanggap niyang pera, 555,000 pesos. So, dapat itong service charge ay naka-debit. Sorry, no? So, this should have been debited. Correct muna natin. So, okay. Corrected na siya. So, you have here again to record the receipt na of the proceeds of the loan. So, you debit cash at 555,000. We debit service charge na 5,000 and we credit note payable bank at 560,000. So on April 5, issued a credit memo for sales return to a customer whose account was assigned na 2,000. So since this is non-notification, so ang records ng customer ay nasa ano pa talaga, no, mini-maintain by the entity, and kapag merong mga transactions pertaining to the account, meron talagang first-hand information itong si entity, si assignor. So, to record the return of the merchandise from the customers whose account has been assigned, so debit tayo ng sales return, so 20,000. So, credit tayo ng accounts receivable assigned. No? So, reduce lang natin yung accounts receivable assigned for the return. So, April 10, there is a collection of 300,000 of the assigned accounts less 2% cash discount. So, naka-receive tayo ng cash in the amount of 294,000. So, that is the total amount of the accounts assigned, that's 300,000, minus the discount na na-avail niya, which is 2%. That's 6,000. So, you have 294,000 yung natanggap nating pera. So, debit tayo ng sales discount, 6,000, and credit tayo ng accounts receivable assigned. So, noong April 30, so since of course, no, may collection ka na, so yung collection mo ay ibabayad mo sa financial institution kung saan ka may pagkakautang. So, debit note payable bank at 294,000 kasi ang sabi dito, niremit yung total collection sa bangko plus interest for 1 month. So, nagdagdag tayo ng pera, no, pambayad, which is para sa interest. Kasi yung 294,000 is in-apply lahat sa principal. So, that's debit to notes payable bank, 294,000. Debit also interest expense based on the outstanding balance. As of now, this is the first time na nagbayad sila ng utang. So, yung outstanding balance ng note payable ay 560,000 pa. So, multiply lang natin yan by 1%. So, you'll have 5,600. So, yung total cash na ating binayad, no, sa bangko ay 299,600. So, on May 7, so what if the accounts, no, or the assigned accounts of 15,000 were proved to be worthless? So, kapag merong write-off, alam natin, magde-debit tayo ng allowance and magde-credit tayo ng accounts receivable. The same thing lang, except that of course, yung accounts receivable natin na i-credit ay yung may apelyadong assigned, no? So, yung galing doon sa mga assigned accounts. So, May 20, collected 300,000 of the assigned account. So, walang deduction. So, just debit cash and credit accounts receivable for assigned accounts. That's 300,000. So, by May 30, nag-remit na naman siya sa bangko to pay the loan balance plus 1 month interest. So, magkano na lang ba yung balance? Pwede kang gumawa ng key account dito. Pwede na naman, no? Mano-mano na lang. So, you'll have 560,000 yung balance initially. Tapos, ang bayad tayo ng 294,000. So, ibig sabihin, yung ating kulang na lang, yung balance na lang natin sa bangko ay 266,000. So, that 266,000, of course, mag-i-earn yan or mag-a-accrue yan ng interest 1% sa isang buwan as agreed. So, debit tayo ng interest expense. That's 2,660,000. So, credit natin yung cash na 268,660 for the total amount. Now, this time, kasi di ba bayad na ang kanyang notes payable, pero meron pa bang sobra yung ating accounts receivable assigned? So, yes, merong sobra pa, no? Meron pang sobra. So, how do we compute that? You can actually prepare a T account for this para ma-follow through mo kung magkano na lang yung balance ng accounts receivable assigned mo. Pero pwede naman ganito, no? Parang mano-mano na lang. So, your accounts receivable assigned, initially, meron siyang 700,000 na balance. So, since meron kang collection doon sa 294,000 plus yung 300,000. Actually, di ba 300,000 man yun? Pwede na dito collection 300,000 tapos yung second collection na 300,000 din wala ng deduction. Kasi yung percent niya dito, yung net amount nga yung nilagay niya dito, pero dinagdag niya naman yung sales discount dito. So, pwede na, no, na 300,000 na lang agad. Sales returns na 20,000 and accounts na worth less na 15,000. So, itong sa mga deductions na to, again, you can follow through your entries. Na, so, for example, kung balikan lang natin yung mga entries natin. So, for example, dito, that's your beginning balance sa assigned accounts. So, 700,000. Then, next would be ito, yung meron kang sales return na natanggap. So, i-deduct mo lang kasi naka-credit yan. So, 20,000. So, sa April 10, meron kang collection. So, ito na, no, direction na lang sa 300,000. Kasi per record, yun naman yung amount na credit. So, you can just refer it to your journal entries. Another is, ito yung worthless, nag-write off tayo ng accounts receivable assigned. So, 15,000. So, another credit, so meaning reduction ito, yung collection na 300,000. So, based on that, yung natira na lang na accounts receivable assigned ay 65,000. So, yun na lang yung balance na accounts receivable assigned natin. So, since considering na bayad na nga yung ating loans or ating note payable sa bangko, so of course, it will be appropriate na ibalik na yung 65,000 doon sa general na accounts receivable. So, that's why we have this reclassification entry here. So, debit tayo ng accounts receivable, 65,000. Credit tayo ng accounts receivable assigned na 65,000. Okay, so that's for the non-notification basis na assignment by non-notification. So, yung magme-maintain ng records, of course, yung entity pa rin. And, siya yung may first-hand information as to ano nangyari sa kanyang account, no? Yun na, kanyang account na inassign. So, punta naman tayo dito sa assignment, which is notification. So, yung alam ng customer or ni-notify yung customer na yung account nila ay inassign. So, kung ni-notify yung customer na yung account nila ay na-assign, so, ang gagawin nila, doon na sila sa bangko magbabayad. So, the scenario would be different, no, doon sa na-notification. Kasi dito, hindi malalaman ng entity kung ano na nangyari sa kanyang assigned account unless si bangko ay magbibigay ng update. Na? So, only when the time comes na mag-update yung bangko na, for example, magno-notify yung bangko na meron siyang collection, only during that time na makakapag-update din ng record si entity. So, here we have an illustration, say on July 1, an entity assigned 1 million of accounts receivable to a bank under a notification arrangement. So, the bank loans 80% of the assigned account. So, that's 80% of 1 million. That's 800,000. Tapos, minus the service fee of 4% on the gross amount assigned. So, base natin siya sa 1 million. So, just take note, no, kung saan ba base yung service charge. Dito na ba sa loans, yung 800,000 na ba, or dun ba sa assigned accounts receivable talaga? So, in this case, sabi niya, the service charge of 4% is to be charged based on the gross amount assigned. So, based doon sa 1 million. So, that's why yun yung computation natin. 1 million times 4%. So, the entity signed a promissory note that provides 1% interest per month on the unpaid balance. So, the first entry natin, ito, this is just to reclassify, no? Set up natin yung accounts receivable assigned na account, 1 million. So, tanggalin natin from our general accounts receivable account, no? So, that's the entry, the first entry. The second entry is to record the proceeds, the receipt of the proceeds of the loan from our bank. So, dito, magkano ba yung ating total, no, na cash na receive? So, cash proceeds natin ay 760,000 kasi nga yung in advance ng bangko sa atin ay 80% lang sa 1 million. So, yung total loans natin ay 800,000 lang, no? So, 800,000 reduce natin by the service charge na 4% based on the gross amount. So, you'll have 40,000. So, yung cash na natanggap natin ay 760,000 lang. So, debit natin yung service charge na 40,000. And then, credit tayo ng note payable bank amounting to 800,000. So, next would be on July 31. So, ito na, no? On July 31, the entity received notice from the bank that 600,000 of the assigned accounts are collected, less 2% discount. So, the check was sent for the interest due. So, separate yung binigay niyang cheque para sa interest, no? So, as apart from the collection of the bank, so si entity din nagbigay talaga ng cheque, no? Separate check for the interest. So, these are the entries. So, first entry natin, i-update natin yung ating accounts receivable assigned. So, since sabi ng bangko, nakakolekta siya ng 600,000. So, credit na natin yun. So, credit natin yung accounts receivable assigned for 600,000. Since, of course, yung sobra doon sa discount, no? Or sobra ng collection, net already of the discount will be applied all to principals. That's why our entry here, debit tayo ng note payable bank amounting to 588,000 kasi yun yung amount na i-apply natin sa principal loan natin. So that's 600,000 minus the sales discount of 12%, or I mean 12,000 kasi 2% yan ng 600,000. So you'll have 12,000. So aside from that debit na note payable bank, magdi-debit din tayo ng sales discount na 12,000 and credit accounts receivable assigned at 600,000. So that's for to recognize the collection of the bank and of course settlement, no, partial settlement natin sa loan natin sa bangko. So another entry is for the interest expense, which is 1% based on the outstanding balance. As of July 31, bago natin of course binayaran yon or bago nakakolekta yung bangko, amounting to 588,000. So, yung outstanding balance natin ay 800,000. So, 800,000 times 1%. So, meron kang 8,000 pesos. So, you debit interest expense and credit cash. So, on August 31, so we have here, we received a note again coming from a bank or notice na coming from the bank that 300,000 of the assigned accounts are collected. So, of course, final settlement kasi 800,000 lang naman yung utang natin. So, nakabayad na tayo ng 588,000. So, ang natira na lang ay 212,000. So, most probably yung 300,000 na nakolekta ng bangko ay maka-cover up na niya, no? Mapupuli pay na niya yung ating utang, no, na yung note payable natin sa bangko. So, because of that, the final settlement was made by the bank for the excess collections together with the uncollected assigned accounts of 100,000. So, dito yung challenge actually is to compute kung magkano ba yung amount na matatanggap natin, no, galing sa bangko. So, what we have to do here, so record lang natin yung collection, of course. So, with that 300,000 na collection, i-credit natin yan sa accounts receivable assigned na 300,000. So, magkano ba ang balanse ng ating note payable na sa bangko? So, you'll have again 800,000 minus the initial payment, no? Kasi yung first na collection, merong na-apply na 588,000. So, you have 212,000. Plus, no, pag ganito, pwede kang gumamit ng T-account, no? And then, you just follow through the entries that you have previously made. Like, for example, dito, di ba, yung note payable mo na T-account will have a credit balance first of 800,000. And then, dun sa collection, nag-debit na tayo ng 588,000. So, malamang, yung natira ay 212,000. So, yung 212,000 na to, ito yung total amount na ating i-debit na. Kasi i-pay off na nga, no? Kasi sobra na nga yung nakolekta ng bangko. Or enough na yung nakolekta ng bangko pangbayad or pang-settle doon sa kanyang, sa note payable ng entity. So, dito, kasi pa yung settlement na, hindi na, and may sobra naman doon sa collection ng bangko, hindi na niya inintay na magbayad pa separately ng interest itong si entity. So, chinarge na niya doon sa kanyang collection. So interest expense is based only on the outstanding balance. So that's 212,000 times 1%. So that will give you 2,120. So in short, ang sobra no sa collection ng bangko. So yung 300,000 natin minus yung sa principal minus sa interest expense. So meron pang natirang 85,880 pesos, of which yung amount na yan ay ibibigay ng bangko kay entity. So yan yung sinasabi niya dito na final settlement na wherein the bank made no or give the excess collections to the entity with the uncollected na accounts, assigned accounts receivable amounting to 100,000. So yung second entry natin, yes, this is reclassification na lang, no, na i-reclassify natin yung ating accounts receivable assigned na hindi na ko-collectay ng bangko kasi nga fully paid na yung loan ng entity. So, re-classify lang natin to the general accounts receivable account. So, just to make sure no na yun nga yung balance ng accounts receivable assigned natin, pwede nating balikan yung mga entries, no? So, gawa ka ng T account. So, for example, dito nag-start ka with 1 million accounts receivable assigned. So, this entry here, nag-debit ka, so debit yan. So, meron tayong credit ito nga 600,000. So, you'll have, magkano na lang? 1 million minus 600. So, meron ka na lang 400,000. Then, the last credit here is 300,000. So, 400,000 mo na balance minus yung 300,000 mas of course meron ka pang natirang 100,000. So, yung 100,000 na yan, ibabalik natin sa accounts receivable na general. Kasi nga, tapos na yung utang natin sa bangko. Okay, so we are now in the third form of receivable financing. So this time, meron tayong tinatawag na factoring, no? Factoring of accounts receivable. So ano ba yung nature ng factoring of accounts receivable? So itong factoring of accounts receivable class is actually a sale of receivables, no? Since the transfer of these receivables without recourse. Pag sinabi mong recourse, meron pang secondary liability yung entity in case hindi makabayad yung customer kung sino yung nagkautang sa entity. So, pag sinabing without recourse, meaning wala na talagang secondary liability, no? Yung risk na baka hindi makabayad yung customer ay transfer na din doon sa second party na nag-agree na, yung tinatawag nating factor company or the finance company. So, as mentioned here, the factor company or the finance company assumes the risk of collection and generally handles the billing and collection function. So, yun na nga, no? Pinenta na talaga natin yung receivables para makakuha tayo ng pera. So, as in any sale of assets, kapag ang ating mode of receivable financing ay factoring, then we have to recognize, kasi nga sale nga siya no, ng asset. So, we have to recognize gain or loss on the sale of the asset for the difference between the proceeds received and the net carrying amount of the accounts receivable factored. So, there are two forms of factoring. One is casual factoring and the other one is factoring as a continuing agreement. So, ano yung kaibahan ng dalawa? So, pag sinabing casual factoring, it is when no, the entity will be forced to factor or to sell some or all of its accounts receivable at a substantial discount. So, for example, 1 million yung value ng accounts receivable, pero since ikaw ay nangangailangan talaga ng pera, so bargain mo na lang. So you can just factor it to a bank or a financial institution at 70%. So ganun, no? Mas malaki yung deduction. Or a finance entity, no? To a bank or to a finance entity to obtain the much needed cash. So yan, ibibenta na lang natin ng palugi ang ating accounts receivable. No, yun naman talaga yung ano diyan, no, common na practice na kapag you really need cash na agad-agad na. So, you just sell it at a discount. So, bargain price na lang. So, we have here a sample, no? Pag casual factoring, parang yung ano talaga, no? One-time transaction na wherein binenta mo na talaga agad. So, without recourse, so ibig sabihin wala ng secondary liability ang entity. So, in case na yung customer, na yung accounts receivable na yun, yung customer ng accounts receivable na yun ay hindi makabayad, ang risk ay sinalo na ni factor. So, we have here an example. An entity factored 100,000 of accounts receivable with an allowance for doubtful accounts of 5,000 for 80,000. So, debit lang natin. Kasi 'di ba 80,000, no? So, sabi niya pag pag perang factoring, compute natin yung gain or loss. Usually, pag factoring yan, malamang loss talaga yan, no? Kasi you'll be selling that at a discount. So, you'll have, here you compare the selling price or the proceeds. In this case, the proceeds will be 80,000. And then you compare that with the carrying amount of your accounts receivable. So, alam naman natin na pag-compute ng carrying amount or net realizable value ng accounts receivable ay yung gross amount mo minus the allowances. In this case, meron siya allowance for doubtful accounts na 5,000. So, you'll have 100,000 minus 5,000. So, you'll have 95,000. So, yung carrying amount natin ay 95,000 compared to the selling price or the proceeds na 80,000. So, in short, there is a loss on factoring kasi mas malaki yung carrying amount, 95,000, compared doon sa proceeds ng factoring na 80,000 lang. So, there's a loss to be recognized amounting to 15,000. So, ito yung entry natin. Debit tayo ng cash, 80,000. Debit tayo ng allowance for doubtful accounts ng 5,000 kasi lahat ng accounts na related dito sa ating accounts receivable, dapat tanggalin din natin sa ating records. And also a debit to loss on factoring amounting to 15,000. So, credit tayo ng accounts receivable at 100,000. So, yun, casual factoring. One time lang na transaction. Recognize mo lang yung gain or malamang loss on factoring. So, another form of factoring is yung factoring as a continuing agreement. Na, so, parang merong this is not just for a one-time transaction, but there's really an agreement, no? A long-term relationship between the factor and the entity. So, in this setup, a finance entity purchases all of the accounts receivable of a certain entity. So, para siyang setup ng credit card, no? Wherein, for example, yung customer na pupunta doon sa for example, mall, na tapos ang ipambabayad na or isa-swipe niya lang yung mga binili niya. So, in short, isa-swipe niya yung credit card niya. So, parang ang mangyayari ay, before na okay ng entity or ng mall, no, yung purchase ni buyer or the customer, of course, di ba, check niya muna kung okay ba doon sa kabilang party, yung sa credit card company. So, kukuha muna siya ng approval ng credit card company para to ascertain na legit, no, or so, just to ascertain na legit ba or authorized pa ba or approved pa ba kay credit card company na pwede pang pautangin itong taong ito. No, so, yun. So, before the merchandise, parang ganito yung setup, no, sa factoring. Sample lang. So, before merchandise is shipped to a customer, the selling entity requests the factor's credit approval. And then, once approved, the account is sold immediately to the factor after shipment of the goods. So, automatic na yun, no? Pag merong accounts receivable yung entity, automatic, bibilhin na ni factor or i-take na ni factor. So, the factor then assumes the credit function as well as the collection function. So, yun, no? Mangyayari, balikan natin yung setup ng credit card company. So, pagkatapos ng sale transaction or credit sale transaction, between the mall and the customer, tapos in-approve naman yun ng credit card company. So, si credit card company na yung maniningil doon sa customer. So, i-bill na niya yun sa customer. So, yung credit card company, babayaran na lang niya si mall, no? For the amount na nakuha ni customer. Of course, merong mga fees involved yan. So, for example, the factor will or may charge a commission or factoring fee. Kasi nga, di ba, siya na yung magkokolekta. So, siya yung mag-a-act as collecting agent, no? Siya yung magme-maintain ng accounts receivable. So, shoulder na or tinik na niya yung risk na baka hindi makabayad si customer. So, therefore, based on that setup, of course, the factor must be compensated, no, for taking that risk and for facilitating, no, the collection or the credit and collection function of the entity or for the entity. So, aside from the commission or factor fee, kasi yan din yung parang magiging income, no, on the part of the factor. So, income yung commission or factoring fee. Now, meron tayong tinatawag na factors holdback. So, ano naman yan? So, there is in anticipation of the possible mga reductions pa doon sa kanyang accounts receivable na factor. So, itong factors holdback class, hindi siya income on the part of the factor. Hindi siya income, hindi liability siya on the part of the factor, and on the part of the entity, para siyang receivable, no? Kasi itong factors holdback naman, once na nakabayad na yung customer and then wala namang ibang deductions, so isa sa uli yan ng factor doon sa entity. No? So, isa sa uli yan. So, parang temporary lang na, parang bond siya, no, na for the meantime na meron pa talagang risk. Baka hindi makolekta lahat or baka may mag-return or baka maka-avail ng discount. So, dyan sa factors holdback, kukunin yung mga reductions in your accounts receivable. So, we have here a sample sa factoring as a continuing agreement. So, an entity factored accounts receivable of 500,000 with credit terms of 2, 10, and 30 immediately after shipment of the goods to the customer. So, the factor charged a 5% commission based on the gross amount of the receivable factor. So, in this case, that's 500,000. In addition, the factor withheld 20% of the amount of the receivables factored to cover sales returns and allowances. Okay, to record this, we have this first entry here to record that factoring arrangement. So, you have debit tayo ng cash for the amount that we receive. So, yung net amount na na-receive natin, paano ba yan kinumpute? So, then dito, ito yung gross amount, 500,000 of your accounts receivable being factored. Deduct natin yung una, yung sabi niya 2% na sales discount, no? Kasi 'di ba ang sabi dito, it is still possible na baka merong maka-avail, no, ng customer na ng sales discount. So, finactor in na lang dito or dineduct na lang yung possibility na baka mag-avail lahat ng or mag-avail yung customers ng discount. So, debit na lang natin yung sales discount na 10,000. That's 2% of 500,000. So, aside from that, debit din tayo ng commission na 500,000 times 5%. So, that's 25,000. And yung factors holdback na 20% based on your 500,000. So, you'll have 100,000. So, the total deduction is 135,000. So, yung 135,000 na yan, now that's the amount to be reduced or to be deducted from your gross amount na 500,000. So, meron tayong net amount na na-receive from factoring na 365,000. So, yung 365,000 na yan, dinebit natin sa cash. So, nag-debit tayo ng sales discount for 10,000. Debit tayo ng commission. Expense na natin ito. 25,000. And nag-debit tayo ng receivable from factor na 100,000. So, take note, yung receivable from factor na yan is actually our asset, no? Asset on the part of the entity. Kasi later, posible pa yung ma-return or mabalik sa atin ng factor kapag wala namang deductions, no, pertaining to the accounts being factored. So, credit tayo ng accounts receivable kasi nga without recourse ito, no, credit lang natin to accounts receivable. So, if the customer is subsequently allowed a credit of 50,000 for damaged merchandise, so ito yung ating entry. So, debit tayo ng sales return and allowance for 50,000, so for the whole amount. And then, ito must be credited. Sales discount should be credited amounting to 1,000. Kasi diba, nag-anticipate na tayo previously ng 1,000. So, you'll have, kasi yung 50,000 na to, na amount na to, included na to doon sa ating kinuna ng sales discount, which is, the amount is, kung balikan lang natin dito sa kabilang slide, ito, 10,000 here, included na dyan itong 50,000. So, kung ni-return yan, of course, hindi na rin makaka-avail ng discount. So, kaya, credit natin ito. So, this should be a credit. Correct lang natin. So, ayan, naka-credit na yung sales discount natin na 1,000, which is applicable for the 50,000 na ni-return ng customer. So, sabi natin, pag merong mga returns, may mga, no, yung mga reduction sa value ng accounts receivable. So, i-charge natin to receivable from factor. So, ma-reduce yung ating makukolekta, no, from the factor. Kasi nga, meron tayong returns dito. So, 49,000 yung reduction. So, when all the receivables factors are collected na by the factor, with no further returns and allowances, so the final settlement with the factor is recorded as follows. So, debit lang tayo ng cash, 51,000, and credit receivable from factor na 51,000. So, in short class, isa sa uli sa atin yung sobra, no, ng receivable from factor or yung factors holdback na hindi na gamit. So, in this case, that's 51,000. Okay, so let's proceed to the last. Ito, last na siya na form of receivable financing. So, this time, kasi the first three are related to accounts receivable. So, ito siya, this is related to notes receivable naman, no? So, paano ba natin or paano tayo makakakuha ng cash out of the notes receivable na meron tayo? So, we can discount our notes receivable to a financial institution. So, itong discounting of notes receivable, this is in essence selling also of note to the bank at this time with recourse. So, pag sinabi natin with recourse, ibig sabihin nun, merong secondary liability yung entity. No? In case na hindi makabayad yung maker ng note, so yung entity ang magbabayad sa bangko. So kaya ang tawag ay with recourse. No, kasi meron pang secondary liability ang entity sa bangko in case hindi makabayad si maker. So in this setup, the payee endorses the note, no, prior to its maturity date to a bank, no, so or a financial institution. So in that setup, the payee becomes an endorser and the bank becomes an endorsee. So when we say endorsement, that is the transfer of right to a negotiable instrument by simply signing at the back of the instrument, which can be with recourse or without recourse. So, again, pag sinabi natin with recourse, meron pang secondary liability yung nag-endorse, no? Yung, in this case, yung PE endorser, meron pa siyang secondary liability kapag hindi makabayad ang maker ng note. So, si bangko, no, babalikan ang endorser ng note na to kapag wala siyang makokolekta galing kay maker. Pag without recourse naman, so yan, no, walang secondary liability yung endorser ng note. So just take note that in the absence of any evidence of the contrary, endorsement is assumed to be with recourse. So yung meron talagang secondary liability yung entity who endorses the note. So before we proceed, let us familiarize ourselves with this, no, mga terms related to discounting of notes. So first we have the net proceeds. So sir, familiar naman tayo, no? Net proceeds, of course, this refers to the discounted value of the note received by the endorser from the endorsee. So ito yung amount na matatanggap, no, ng endorsee or ng endorser galing kay endorsee. So in short, ng entity galing sa bangko. So pag-compute ng net proceeds, that is maturity value minus the discount. So ito na lang, no, dapat alam natin paano i-compute itong maturity value tsaka itong discount. So to compute for the maturity value, ano ba yung maturity value na to? So this is the amount due on the note at the date of maturity. So in short, that is principal plus interest, no? So yan, no, maturity value. So principal, of course, given naman yan, no? Interest, then you have to compute for your interest. So to compute for the interest, so that would be principal times rate times time. So for sure, alam nyo na yan, no? So dito, pag-compute ng interest natin ay full term, no? Sa full term ng note. So based doon sa nakasulat talaga sa note. So you have your principal times rate, the interest rate na naagrihan ng maker tsaka nung payee. And then the time is, of course, yung pa-issue ng note until or date ng note until sa due date or maturity date, no, na specify din doon sa note receivable or sa promissory note. So time here is the period within which interest shall accrue. So for discounting purposes, it is the period from the date of the note to maturity. So yun yung sinasabi ko kanina, yung time, no, yung term talaga ng ating note receivable. So in other words, the term time is the entire period or the full term of the note. Now, yun yung pag-compute ng maturity value, no? Kasi yung element ng maturity value ay principal plus interest. So yung interest na kukumputin natin is for the whole term of the note. Now, punta tayo sa second part ng formula, no, pag-compute ng net proceeds, which is the discount. So this part here. So ano ba yung discount? Discount is the amount of interest deducted by the bank in advance, no? So yung sabi nating advance na interest na dineduct ng bangko. Paano siya i-compute? So discount is computed as maturity value. So ito na-compute na natin. That's principal plus interest times your discount rate. So depende yan sa ibibigay ng bangko times the discount period. So, isa-isahin natin yan sila. So, pag sinabi nating discount rate, that is the rate used by the bank in computing the discount. No? So, the discount rate should not be confused with the interest rate. Kasi itong discount rate na to, ito yung agreement ng bangko. Ito yung terms ng bangko. No? So, the discount rate and the interest rate are different from each other. Discount rate is given by the bank whereas the interest rate is yun yung nakasulat doon sa promissory note on the face of your note receivable or your promissory note. So if no discount rate is given, then the interest rate is safely assumed as the discount rate. So, equal na lang sila, yung discount rate tsaka yung interest rate kapag hindi given yung discount rate. Now, another important element in computing for the discount is the discount period. So, take note that the discount period class is the time, no, the period of time from the date of discounting. So, take note, no, hindi na date of the note, but date of discounting up to maturity date. So, the discount period is the unexpired portion of the note. So, simply computed, so ito, no, discount period is the time or the term of the note, the full term of the note, minus the expired portion up to the date of discounting. See, for example, yung note mo ay good for 1 year. So, it was issued, so for example, issued siya noong January 1, 2021. So, see, for example, March na tayo or March 31 na tayo ngayon, going April. So, for example, April 1 na tayo ngayon. So, ngayong April 1, diniscount mo siya sa bangko. So, what will be the discount period then? So, since 12 months yung full term of the note, kasi 1 year nga daw, so 12 months yung term ng note. So, ilang months na ba ang nag-lapse, no? Since na-issue yung note na yan. So, January, February, March. So, 3 months na yung expired portion. So, in short, 12 minus 3, the discount period would only be 9 months. 9 months na lang siya. Okay, so we have here an illustration for the discounting, no, para sa mga computations lang. So first is so we have again, no, 1 million 180D 12% note dated July 1 from a customer and discounted without recourse on August 30 at 15% discount rate. So, isa-isahin natin, no? Para ma-compute natin our objective actually here is to compute for the net proceeds. So, para ma-compute natin yung net proceeds, unahin muna natin computein yung maturity value. So, para ma-compute naman yung maturity value, of course, computein natin yung interest. So, that is why here, nag-start tayo with the computation of the interest. So, pag-compute ng interest natin, that's principal. Principal is 1 million times the rate is 12% times the time. The time is 180 days. So, yung 12% na binigay class, that's annual rate. So, that's why we have to prorate, no, yung number of days. So, you will divide it to 360 days. So, you have 1 million times 12% times 180 over 360 days. So, you'll have 60,000. So, that's your interest for the whole term of the note. So, 60,000 plus 1 million. So, pag in-add natin yung dalawang amounts na yan, we will get our maturity value, which is 1,060,000. So, since meron na tayong maturity value, that's 1,060,000. So, yung sa net proceeds na computation, meron na tayong per one element doon. That's the maturity value. So, doon naman tayo sa second element. Yung ipang-deduct natin sa maturity value, which is the discount. So, paano ba i-compute yung discount? Based on the formula given kanina, that's maturity value times the discount rate times the discount period. So, you have 1,060,000 times the discount period or the discount rate is 15% times yung discount period natin is 120 days na lang over 360 days. So, paano ba kinumpit yung 120 days? So, the term of the note is 180 days minus the expired portion. That's from July 1, the date of the note, until the date of discounting, which is August 31. That's 60 days na. So, in short, ang unexpired term na lang of this note is 120 days. So, 120 days na yan, yun yung ating tinatawag na discount period. So, we just divide it by 360 kasi nga itong 15% na to, yung discount rate na binigay ng bangko, that is assumed to be 1 year or good for 1 year yan. So, pag meron na tayong discount, that's 53,000, pwede na natin makompute yung net proceeds. So, that's maturity value, 1,060,000 minus 53,000. So, the net proceeds will be 1,007,000. So, we have here computations about the carrying amount of the note discounted. So, we have here, no, ang ating principal amount ay 1 million. And then, ang accrued interest, meaning, on the, from the date of, yung expired portion, bale, no, yung from the date of the note until the discounting date. So, yung 60 days, no, na nilapse, of course, meron ng accrued interest doon ang entity kasi sa kanya pa man, nasa kanya pa man yung note. So, meron na nag-accrue na interest doon, no, good for 60 days. So, that's 20,000. So, your principal of 1 million plus the accrued interest of 20,000, that's your carrying amount. No? Yun yung carrying amount ng note natin. To compute for the gain or loss on discounting, so ito yung ating computation. So, yung proceeds natin minus ang carrying amount ng ating note. No? So, kung ang proceeds natin, na-compute natin at 1,007,000. Tapos yung carrying amount ng ating loan ay 1,020,000. So, there is a loss on discounting amounting to 13,000. No? So, loss tayo, lugi tayo ng 13,000. Usually naman talaga malulugi tayo sa discounting kasi tayo o yung entity o yung merong need, no, or urgent need of cash. So, malamang it will be given out, yung note receivable natin will be given out at a loss talaga siya para as long as meron ng pera, no, na maibibigay or magagamit yung entity. So, accounting for note receivable discounted without recourse. So, kasi 'di ba sabi natin dalawa 'yun, no? Dalawang situation 'yon. So, depende if yung note receivable ba na discount natin ay without recourse or with recourse. So, yung computations, the same lang. No? Yung computations natin, the same lang. Nagkakatalo tayo dito sa accounting kasi depende siya kung agreement ba ng bangko tsaka nung entity ay without recourse ba or with recourse. Now, kapag without recourse, the sale of the note is absolute. So, therefore, there's no contingent liability. So, ang gagawin lang natin para mapakita natin na absolute sale na yon, ang i-credit natin kapag nag-entry tayo ay note receivable account na agad. No? So, the note receivable account is credited directly because the sale of the note receivable is without recourse or absolute. So, the interest income is credited for the actual interest earned on the date of discounting. So, in our case, kanina, that's 20,000. No? So, let's try to check on the journal entries. So, kapag without recourse, yung note receivable natin, ganito yung magiging entry natin. So, nakatanggap tayo ng cash na 1,007,000. So, we debit cash. We debit loss on receivable, note receivable discounting, 13,000. So, automatic we recognize loss kasi nga there is an absolute sale, no, kapag without recourse. And then, ito pinaka-importante, observe nyo na ang gamit natin ay credit talaga to note receivable. No, so, tinanggal na natin sa ating records yung note receivable account. No? Credit na tayo ng 1 million. Kasi nga, without recourse, so wala tayong secondary liability. And then, na-credit to interest income for 20,000. So, take note, this 20,000 here, ito yung nag-accrue na interest, no, from the date of the note until the date of discounting. So, that's your entry kapag without recourse. Now, kapag with recourse, ito, no, pag with recourse kasi, ibig sabihin nito, meron pang secondary liability yung ating entity. No? So, in short, kapag hindi nakabayad yung maker ng note, ang bangko, pwede pa niyang habulin yung endorser ng note o yung nagpa-discount, yung entity na nagpa-discount sa kanila ng note. So, if the discounting is recourse, then the transaction is accounted for as either of the following. So, depende din pala, no? Kung with recourse, meron pang dalawang situation. So, pwede siyang conditional sale ng note receivable or pwede namang secured borrowing. So, ano ba yung kaibahan ng dalawa? So, first, yung conditional sale lang muna. So, yung conditional sale, so under this situation, a contingent liability should be recognized. So, later we will see no, kung paano natin papakita na meron tayong contingent or paano natin i-recognize na meron tayong contingent liability. Whereas sa letter B, secured borrowing, here class, the note receivable is not derecognized. Hindi natin tatanggalin sa ating records, but instead, an accounting liability is recorded at an amount equal to the face amount of the note receivable discounted. So in short, parang sa letter B, parang ang yung note receivable natin, kinonsider lang natin as collateral dito sa ating loan. So, hindi ka magka-credit ng note receivable, wala kang tatanggaling note receivable, but rather, you will just recognize a different, no, another liability. Kasi nga, the note receivable that we had, parang tinag lang natin siya or kinonsider lang natin siya as a collateral. So, this is the sample or this is an illustration if the note receivable discounted with recourse is considered as a conditional sale. So, ito yung entry natin. So, pansinin natin abang kaibahan doon sa entry natin sa without recourse. So, debit pa rin tayo ng cash ng 1,007,000. Debit pa rin tayo ng loss on receivable discounting na 13,000. So, this time, pansinin natin, no, credit tayo ng note receivable discounted na 1 million. Kung without recourse ito, we just credit immediately to note receivable. Pero kasi with recourse ito and considered as conditional sale, take note that we do not credit immediately note receivable to recognize our contingent liability. So what will be the effect, no? Yung note receivable natin na 1 million, nasa record pa rin natin yun. Kaso lang, sa presentation, no, kasi dinascount na natin under conditional sale, itong note receivable discounted na naka-credit na 1 million, this account here is to be shown as a deduction from the total note receivable when preparing the statement of financial position with disclosure of the contingent liability. So in short, ito yung hint natin, no, hindi natin tinanggal sa ating records yung note receivable, meron pa talaga tayong amount no, na nasa note receivable, except that sa presentation, sa financial statement, magde-deduct tayo ng itong amount na to, note receivable discounted. So in this way, mapapakita natin na meron tayong contingent liability over this note receivable na diniscount. So kung titingnan natin, like for example, yung total note receivable mo ay so, kung ang total note receivable mo ay 1 million lang din, so kung i-deduct natin yung note receivable discounted natin na 1 million, so it would appear na zero talaga yung net amount ng note receivable. Kaso nga, we will not remove no, our note receivable account from our records just to make sure na hindi natin malimutan na meron pa tayong secondary liability over that note receivable. So, subsequent accounting, no, after the initial recognition doon sa note receivable discounted with recourse as a conditional sale. So, after that, so, dalawa lang naman yan, di ba? It's either yung maker ay makakabayad sa endorsee. So, if the note is paid by the maker, then the contingent liability is extinguished as follows. So, you just debit note receivable discounted kasi naka-credit yun. So, i-debit natin and then credit note receivable for 1 million. So, kanya, yun yung kapag nakapagbayad ang maker. Now, kapag hindi naman nakabayad yung maker, so if the note is dishonored by the maker, the note becomes payable on demand. Thus, it should be reclassified to accounts receivable. So the total amount reclassified included the maturity value plus other charges na as may be charged by the bank, of course. So assuming that aside from the maturity value of 1,060,000, the entity demands another 30,000 as a protest fee and other bank charges amounting to 30,000. So subsequently, the total collectible from the maker will be 1,090,000. So paano natin yan i-recognize no sa ating books? So to record the payment to the bank, so debit natin accounts receivable 1,090,000, credit natin cash no kasi nga tayo na ang kokolekta nito sa ating customer or sa maker ng note. So since wala naman yung secondary liability natin kasi binayaran na nga natin, so we have to cancel the contingent liability. So, debit lang tayo ng note receivable discounted 1 million, credit tayo ng note receivable na 1 million. So, the second scenario is that, what if yung ating note receivable discounted with recourse ay considered as a secured borrowing. So, in short, pang collateral lang siya. Now, so in this case, no, based on our computations previously, pansinin natin, no, yung cash, of course, lang din yan. We still recognize it as yung cash proceeds or net proceeds, we recognize it as a cash receipt. So, you debit cash at 1,007,000. So, itong 13,000 class, diba, in the previous na mga entries doon sa conditional sale, we recognize this as a loss on discounting. But this time, kasi walang sale na nangyari dito, meron lang tayong, nag-utang lang tayo and then parang kinolateral natin yung ating note receivable. So that's why we recognize interest expense amounting to 13,000. Credit tayo ng liability for note receivable discounted, 1 million. So in short, mag-recognize tayo ng liability talaga. Hindi yan secondary liability, kundi liability talaga natin. And then, credit tayo ng interest income for the accrued interest. So, there's no gain or loss on discounting in a secured borrowing. Instead, such amount shall be recognized as interest expense. So, the interest expense can be netted with interest income, resulting to a net interest expense of 15,000. So, 15,000 ba? So, I guess it should be 7,000 lang. So, i-correct lang natin ito. Dapat, di ba, kapag i-net out natin, you'll have interest expense na 13,000. Tapos, yung interest income natin ay 20,000. So, in short, there is a net interest income amounting to 7,000. So, hindi 15,000. So, ibang problem siguro ito, no? I-correct na lang natin. Tapos, hindi siya net interest expense, kundi net interest income. So, net interest income ito, amounting to 7,000. So, pag ganun, you debit cash 1,007,000, you credit liability for note receivable discounted at 1 million, and then you credit interest income at 7,000. So, that's how you recognize it in your records. So, in the subsequent accounting, if the note is paid by the maker, then the liability of note receivable discounted and the note receivable are recognized. So, what will happen is, of course, you'll just debit your liability for note receivable discounted at 1 million and then your credit note receivable at 1 million. Now, what if hindi nakabayad yung maker? So, if the notice is honored by maker, then the note becomes payable on demand and thus reclassified to accounts receivable. So the total amount reclassified included the maturity value plus other charges. So still assuming that the maturity value is 1,060,000. Tapos the entity demands for 30,000 protest fee and other bank charges. So the total collectible from the maker is 1,090,000. So to record that, this will be your entries. So you debit accounts receivable 1,090,000 in your credit cash no, when you pay to the bank. Then, to recognize the liability for note receivable discounted and note receivable, so you just debit liability for note receivable discounted and credit note receivable for 1 million. So parang pare-pareho lang din doon sa secured borrow, sa conditional sale, except that dito, ang gamit natin ay liability for note receivable discounted. Kasi nga, we are acknowledging our principal no, or our primary liability, hindi lang secondary liability, just like doon sa conditional sale. Okay, so that will be the end of our discussion video. So I hope you learned something from this video, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye, class!